I have none other than Relf Lumley. He's a qualified, certified financial analyst who's currently serving as the head portfolio management at Capricorn Asset Management there. Born and raised in Windhoek, he gained national colors for Namibia playing hockey and regional colors for cricket while in school. So no, he's not just a numbers guy crunching away. No, he's also quite a sporty. And he got his first tertiary qualification in BCom in investment management. And soon after completing his studies, he started working at Capricorn Asset Management. And as the company developed, so did his roles. And they have evolved so beautifully. Relf, welcome to 99 FM. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. You may feel free to actually remove your mask because we are social distanced nicely, so you can breathe there. How are you this morning?
Oh no, it's a pleasure to be here. It's quite a lovely day as well.
Yeah, it is. And we're talking about it off air. Like, we hope we didn't wake you up too early. Then you did mention you were already up. Yeah. So I know that you guys also work quite odd hours.
Yeah, I know the markets don't close. So you sort of have to spend the time to get the reading in as well.
Yeah. So I know you grew up in Windhoek, but let's just get more in depth about that. Tell us a bit about yourself. How was it growing up and being raised?
Well, as childhood, I mean, I grew up in Eros here in Windhoek, and Eros Primary was my first stint at educational levels, and then got moved to St. Paul's very, very early. So I was initially very much an Afrikaans background and got chucked into an English school at a very young age, and I had to adapt from there. It was quite, for me actually, initially I thought it was quite a terrible thing at that age, and as I grew older, I grew into it and enjoyed it, and actually quite thankful that I had English education with given how the world has evolved and your studies and everything.
Yeah. And growing up, what was your biggest dream at the time?
Well, growing up, obviously, you can see in my background there, I loved my sport. So I always dreamed I would be a sports star. But as you get a bit older and you get a bit slower and you get a bit more enjoying life, shall we call it?
Yeah.
Those dreams faded, and my talent started showing with the numbers, and my education grew, and so it just evolved from there.
Yeah. Speaking of the evolution thereof, was there ever a time where you found yourself juggling multiple jobs, having a side hustle here and then doing this and doing that?
No, I've always strived to be the best at what I could do, whether it's sports or in my education or my career. So what I ended up doing as soon as I started working is I started studying again as well.
Oh, wow.
So I spent all my time basically in the books for a very long period of time. In investment field, it's known as investing in human capital in yourself. So as my knowledge started growing, so my advancement did as well, because you gain your knowledge on the job and you advance yourself even further with the formal education. So so my after hours was spent studying in books, and eventually, I mean, I went all the way up to it's actually a double master's in private equity mergers and acquisitions as well. So it progressed quite significantly. Even now at this point, I'm not studying anything at the moment, but I'm looking for something else.
To do, yeah. I love that term that you just used right now. Investing in human
capital.
Investing in human capital. It's such a beauty. And with that in mind, you must need some form of drive. So what keeps you motivated on a daily basis?
Well, I set very clear goals for myself, whether it's a daily or longer term goal.
Yeah.
You set it. The road there could drift off. Don't beat yourself up if you drift off your targets. You just need to keep it in the back of your mind, knowing that you need to at some point veer back towards what you want to achieve. So for me, I mean, in my job on the daily, I actually love it. I get to quench my thirst for knowledge every single day. It's what I do. That's why I love the reading. I love the industry. I love, and it's very rare you find a business like the asset management industry where you and your clients are so aligned. What's good for our business model is good for our clients. You know, if they do well, we do well. And it makes it much easier.
Yeah, I love that, because you used loving what you do so many times, and when you pour yourself in something that you love, it really does show. I want to tap into your financial analytical mind now, because there is a recent media report that stated that over 9% of Namibians are in debt. either to cash loans or the like. So what is the risk in so many people having debt, especially with the so-called loan sharks?
Yeah, it's difficult because, Namibia for a long time, there hasn't been like a formalized access to finance. The government is making it a priority, and we've seen some benefits over the last 5 years so far. But unfortunately, there is a lot of our population that desperately need money in short periods of time that has to go to what you perceive as loan sharks. The regulation is changing, which is improving it, which is helping people get out of it, financial education and all kinds of programs that's involved. But the sources of why people get into the debt is actually that needs to be addressed. Once you're in that debt cycle or in that debt trap, there's only a couple of ways out of it. And it puts financial, mental, and all kinds of stress on your family once you're in there. So it's best to avoid it in the first place.
And now that we're already in there, Relf, how do we manage our debt?
Well, it's going to sound repetitive because, everywhere you hear it, but it's simply budgeting and planning.
Okay.
That's the easiest and sort of most secure way. And if you struggle with it, then go ask someone. Go ask someone to help you.
Yeah.
But budgeting comes in different forms. So first off, if you budget, and you sort of have to start your budget with your savings. It's actually very easy to live within
your means.
Less.
Okay.
To live with less. And I find it, especially with my clients, they get a pay bump on some occasions. The first thing they do is they spend more.
Yes.
Yeah. But the first thing on your budget should always be save, and then you start your expenditures. Then you go, okay, now I can afford milk, bread, coffee, tea, and as soon as your list is complete, then you go back and say, okay, no, I can survive on this. Let's aim to do it. And then you must follow up. You go look at your own financial statements, your bank accounts, and go, yeah, I did do this. I did do this. I did do this. And then you can realize for yourself, is what I'm asking myself to budget too strict? Okay. Do I need to spend a little bit more to actually survive or do this, so that you can monitor your savings properly?
Okay.
And once you have those savings going, then it's less likely that you'll all of a sudden get into an emergency situation where you quickly need to loan money for something. You know what I mean? Like
geyser has burst or
flat
family.
Tire, So, and then you actually have a savings pool to pull from.
Okay. And finally, right now, what is the best way in which we can invest in Namibia?
Look, all investments do carry risk. Whether you even have a bank account, there is still a risk involved.
Okay.
But you have to understand. You have to understand it. You have to go do your research and pick up your knowledge. Get your education levels to that point where you feel comfortable with your investment. You need to trust your investors. That's why I find it so frustrating, these get-rich-quick schemes and too good to be trues out there.
Yeah.
Why people go and just pump the money in. How can you trust something like that just off the bat? Go do your research and find out if it's actually around. Look if it's a regulated institution. Capricorn Asset Management is a regulated institution. It's governed by laws. It's under NAMFISA. There's an extreme amount of oversight and corporate governance involved, which is crucial, and people underestimate the value that does bring to your investment side of things. So go speak to a financial advisor. They'll direct you into the right direction. There's significant portals to reputable investment companies within Namibia that you can go and just have a little read about and see what's going on.
All right, so thank you so much. That's really helped us a lot. So thank you for gracing us with your expertise.
Not a problem. Like I said, it's a pleasure to be here.
And that was Relf Lumley. He is a qualified, certified financial analyst who is currently serving as the head of portfolio management at Capricorn Asset Management.